Did you know that narcissists lie up to 3 times every 10 minutes? That's 18 lies an hour, 432 lies a day. When you're dealing with a narcissist, spotting their lies and exposing the truth can save you from years of manipulation, stress, and emotional abuse. I've spent the last 20 years researching self-worth and narcissistic relationships. As a coach, author, and survivor myself, I teach simple tools to help empower you in any situation. In this video, I'll share 3 simple questions that can expose the lie, what you need to say to always get to the truth, and the one word that unravels their whole act. Before we get into the questions, we need to first understand the driving force behind their deception. Imagine you're in a life and death situation. In this scenario, let's just say that there's a bad guy holding you hostage, interrogating you at gunpoint. If you tell the truth, they're surely going to kill you. And if you lie, you have a better chance of surviving. In this scenario, our survival instinct would kick in, motivating us to lie to save our own life. For narcissists, the threat isn't to their physical life, but to something they value just as much, their inflated self-image. To understand this, let's picture this artificial sense of self as a big, shiny balloon. It's impressive from the outside, but it's fragile and it needs constant attention. Narcissists lie for 3 main reasons, all related to this balloon. 1, to keep the balloon from popping. They avoid criticism or truth about their flaws like sharp pins that could instantly destroy their self-image. 2 is to keep it from deflating. They constantly need attention, admiration, or pity to maintain their inflated self-image. And 3 is to hide what's inside. Nothing. They want to distract you with their shallow shell so they can conceal their inner emptiness and lack of substance. For a narcissist, keeping this balloon intact is a matter of psychological survival. Their entire identity is tied up into this artificial self-image. Without it, they'd be nobody. This is why they'll say anything, no matter how untrue, to protect, inflate, and maintain their psychological balloon. Have you ever caught someone in an obvious lie, but they doubled down so confidently that you started doubting yourself? This brings us to the first strategy for exposing the truth behind a narcissist's lies. Pop the balloon. To keep the balloon from popping, narcissists will go to great lengths to avoid any criticism or truth about their flaws. These are like sharp pins that could instantly burst their inflated self-image. They might flat out deny something, saying, "I never said that," or "that didn't happen," even when you confront them with clear evidence. They might use blame shifting, saying, "It's not my fault, it's because you, turning the accusation back on you, hoping you'll feel silly for even bringing it up. And when all else fails, get ready for Storytime Special. They'll start spinning a tale with so many details, hoping you get lost in the confusion. Remember, the more elaborate the excuse, the bigger the lie usually is. These lies act as a shield, deflecting anything that might pierce this fragile balloon. So how do we cut through the lies? And how do we protect ourselves? When you're dealing with a narcissist who seems to be lying to avoid criticism or truth about their flaws, start with the first lie detection tool, the pinpoint method. Start by asking clarifying questions that subtly challenge their statements, like, "That's interesting. Can you walk me through exactly ... This does 2 things. It forces them to provide specifics, making it harder to maintain a lie, and it subtly signals that you're paying very close attention to the details. For example, if they're caught texting their ex and they start spinning a story about a coworker and a dead phone, you'd say, "Oh, I see. Can you walk me through exactly when your coworker borrowed your phone? What time was it? Where were you?" And now here's where it gets interesting. As you ask this question, watch their response and body language closely. If they're lying, you might notice that they become defensive or shift blame. They might start providing vague answers or show discomfort through fidgeting or avoiding eye contact. On the other hand, if they're being truthful, you'll likely hear detailed, consistent information. They'll show a willingness to explain further with openness and a lack of defensiveness. If you're not sure, you can always follow up with another specific question like, "Which coworker was it?" This forces them to fabricate more details, potentially contradicting themselves or giving away too much information, which in effect exposes the lie. It's important to know that narcissists rarely ever confess. So the goal here isn't to get them to admit the truth. The goal is for you to be able to decipher the truth beneath their lies. Have you ever wanted to call out a lie where someone seems to be fishing for admiration or pity? This brings us to the second strategy to expose the truth behind the narcissist's lies: deflate the balloon. To keep their self-image balloon from deflating, narcissists need a constant stream of narcissistic supply. which is time, attention, and energy, to feed their ego and artificially boost their sense of self. This can come in the form of praise, sympathy, emotional reactions, or even the control they exert over others. Without this sense of supply, their fragile sense of self shrivels, leading them to constantly hunt for new sources to maintain their inflated self-image. Just like a vampire can't live without blood, a narcissist can't survive without narcissistic supply. Your time, attention, and energy spent reinforcing their personal fantasy. So they lie to make sure that their narcissistic supply keeps flowing. They might lie to get praise by exaggerating or inventing achievements, fabricating connections with important people, or claiming credit for other people's work. They might lie to maintain control by fabricating emergencies, misrepresenting your words or actions, or distorting facts about your shared history. All these lies serve as an air pump for the narcissist's self-image balloon. Each reaction you give, whether it's admiration, sympathy, anger, or compliance, is like another puff of air, keeping their fragile ego from deflating. By recognizing these patterns, you can start to see the invisible pump at work. When you're dealing with a narcissist who seems to be lying to seek narcissistic supply, use our second lie detection tool. Create a vacuum. First, enter gray rock mode. Become as boring as a gray rock by removing interest, emotion, attention from your tone and body language. And then use a context-specific question that requires detailed responses while remaining rational, disinterested, and unemotional. You can blandly ask, "Why do you think that happened?" This starves the narcissist of their supply while setting them up to expose the truth. Observe their emotional responses closely. Genuine reactions tend to be consistent and nuanced. If they're seeking admiration or pity through their lies, their emotions might appear exaggerated or shallow or just inconsistent. If their answer seems suspicious, follow up with another specific question while maintaining gray rock mode. Ask something like, "Is there any reason why I would have heard something different?" This forces them to choose between doubling down and making another excuse, where the more they talk, the more they might expose their lie. For example, if they're claiming a major work success to gain your admiration, say in a neutral tone, "Why do you think that happened?" And if they're lying, you might see vague or inconsistent answers or exaggerated enthusiasm without specific details. By following up with something like, "Is there any reason why I would have heard something different from Sheila?" This type of question will throw them off balance, and you'll see hesitation, frustration, or other signs of deceit, exposing their lie even more. On the other hand, if they're being truthful, they'll provide detailed, consistent information and show a genuine, balanced emotional response. If you'd like a copy of the tools I share, sign up below and you'll get a new 3-minute empowerment plan every week. Have you ever sensed that someone's emotional responses were just a performance, as if they were desperately trying to hide something? This brings us to the last strategy for exposing the truth behind the narcissist's lies: expose the emptiness. The third type of lie narcissists tell is perhaps the most crucial for their self-preservation: lies to hide the hollowness inside their balloon. These lies form a protective shell, desperately trying to conceal the lack of substance at their core. If people saw the true emptiness inside, the narcissist's entire self-image would collapse. It's like a balloon filled with nothing but air, and if punctured, it completely disintegrates. So they'll lie about their capacity for empathy, insisting that they understand your feelings deeply, when in reality, they're incapable of truly putting themselves in your shoes. They'll pretend to care deeply about causes or people, mimicking emotional responses they think that they should have. These lies maintain the illusion that they have a rich emotional life, hiding the barren landscape within. And most importantly, they lie about their true thoughts and motivations. Every action is calculated for effect, every word chosen for impact, but they'll swear it's all genuine. Exposing this truth would reveal the manipulator behind the mask. These lies aren't just a strategy, they're a survival mechanism. By hiding their true nature, narcissists protect themselves from the ultimate threat: being seen for what they really are and potentially losing their source of narcissistic supply. Now that we understand why narcissists lie to hide their inner emptiness, let's look at how we can peek inside the balloon. Our third lie detection tool is what I call the one-word method. The one word? Congruent. Congruent means consistent or in agreement. When someone's words and actions align, they're congruent. But with a narcissist, their words are like the shiny exterior of their balloon, while their actions reveal the emptiness inside. Narcissists are skilled at using words to act as if they have depth, meaning, and substance. They can spin tales, make promises, and express emotions that sound incredibly convincing, all to conceal their true identity. Basically, they're incredibly skilled at verbal deceit and absolutely terrible at behavioral deception. And that is great news, because if you remember that you're looking for congruence, you'll always be able to find the truth. Instead of getting caught up in their words, focus on the actions and behavior over time. Are their actions congruent with their words? For example, they might repeatedly claim to value your friendship, but consistently fail to show up when you need support. Or they might profess deep empathy for others, but you notice that they never actually do anything to help. By observing patterns of behavior rather than individual instances, you can start to see the truth behind the facade. Narcissists might be able to fake an action once or twice, but maintaining a lie through consistent behavior over time is nearly impossible for them. Remember, congruence is the key. When words and actions don't match, trust the actions. They're the true indicator of a narcissist's inner reality. Now that you know how to expose their lies, the next step is to learn the common mind games narcissists play. If you don't know how to navigate these mind games and the narcissist outplays you, it could cost you your job, your family, or the relationships that you love most. So click this video next to learn the 5 mind games that narcissists play, real-life examples of how to spot them, and simple strategies to empower you in any situation.